to the final talk of the morning session, which will be delivered by Professor Eun Hee Ha from Korea. Professor Ha received an MD from Ewha Women's University and Master of Science in Public Health from Seoul National University, and a PhD in Occupational and Environmental Medicine from Catholic University. She is Professor of Preventive Medicine at Ewha Women's University and Director of Center for Mothers Children's Environmental Health. She was visiting scholar at Harvard School of Public Health in 1999 to 2000, and she has also served for WHO Children's Health and the Environment and the international collaboration on air pollution and pregnancy outcomes as an advisor. The talk Dr. Hall going to share with us is indoor and outdoor air pollution and children's health evidence from a first cohort study in South Korea. Please join me to welcome Professor Hall.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing me very nicely. First of all, I thank Professor Chang to be here for me. It's a very great honor to be here. And the other one thing is I learned a lot from David and Peter and Heinrich. Yeah, because I am focused on air pollution and children's health, but I have to think about, from now on, I have to think about greenness and broader public health implication of chemicals and even translational studies. So my brain is very complicated at the moment. So I forgot my presentation contents maybe. So I'd like to introduce some air pollution and pregnancy outcome and children's health. I will let you know these characters later. I realized that yesterday you learned a lot of things regarding air pollution and health effects, but I'd like to very briefly introduce about environmental pollutants and children and environmental, why children are important, and air pollution and children's health. And finally, I would like to give you some recent researches regarding from our cohort study. So I am an epidemiologist of children's environmental health, so my slide is a little bit kind of like this. So what is environmental pollutants? That is the air we breathe and the food we eat, the things we use. So meaning that the environment is everything. That is not me. I did not tell this. Yes, Albert Einstein said that. And the other one thing is environmental pollutants. What is environmental pollutants? That is contaminants found in environment. So such as physical, chemical, biological, and social factors as well as. Some examples are included air contaminants and specific synthetic chemicals and some matters. It's still an emerging issue. I did not say this. This is spoken by, can you remember her? She is Jenny Prof. She passed away several years ago. Actually, she was my mentor. She inspires me a lot. So she visited our hospital and she gave a talk regarding this. It was year 2007. Now, almost 10 years later, can we say these emerging issues are solved? I don't think so. The ambient air pollution, you learned a lot yesterday, so I would like to repeat of them. There are primary air pollutants and secondary air pollutants, but WHO IR concluded that outdoor pollution is carcinogenic to humans. So these are the sources of environmental indoor air pollutants as well. That some of them are VOCs and formaldehyde, and some of them are PM, the particulate matters, and some biological agents, and some radon, like the physical radons. There are a lot of environments around at home. But I can say that key air pollutants are the first thing is should be, particulate matter. The particulate matter is an air pollution term for a mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets found in the air. That's very important because it's a particle, so it can absorb some other chemicals and toxicants. So that's why the particulate matters are very important. But that's very small because the particles are very small enough to inhale that have the potential to cause health effects. Especially the children frequently breathe through their mouth, thus bypassing the major filtration mechanism. So it will be very dangerous. The carbon monoxide is another issue. I would like to tell you that. PAH, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, are very important because the particle bound PAH means we consider very hazardous to human health. The nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide is the very important factor for the respiratory symptoms as well because NO2 is free radical and it has a potential to deplete tissue antioxidant defenses and cause injury and inflammation as well. So SO2 has the similar biological mechanism as well. And the VOCs and formaldehyde is recently, they are very the recent issues in Korea because we build a lot of new houses and new the schools, so these chemicals are very important issues in Korea as well. So secondly, the children and environment. Why children are important? We do have several inspirations from the previous speakers. I can say that children are not little adults. Children are what? Children are insurance for prosperity, like Peter said in the morning, the first session. So the exposure to toxic chemicals in early life are very important causes of diseases and dysfunctions in children and also in adults as well. So but the thing is that diseases caused by chemicals can, if we prevent that, very successfully, we can save lives, enhancing the quality of life, reducing healthcare and educational costs, and increasing productivity. So this is the very important the critical windows of the susceptibility. We know several times about the susceptibility windows. I can say some points are here. That this is the first, second, third trimester. Maybe the preterm birth or birth rate reduces through that exposures of the third trimester, and the mechanisms here the first trimester as well. But this is the prenatal exposure period. But after birth, the postnatal the period, still the lungs are developing. So especially the less than 1 year or 3 years, that are very important because of the alveoli is still developed, and some high they expresses high respiratory rates. So this period is very important. Not even just to the preschooler or schooler, the early schooler period, to the adolescent. Still, the increasing lung volumes are they're happening in the period. So we have to think about that. The children's environmental health is not just regarding the preschoolers to the adolescents. So that this is the DOHAD, developmental origins of health and disease. We do have the birth code study based on this DOHAD, the hypothesis. The hypothesis is the advertised by, emphasizes by the Dr. David Barker in United Kingdom. He said that the role of the risks of number of chronic diseases is from the origins are from the uterus before birth. So meaning that the prenatal exposure and postnatal exposure has a lot. The cause it's a role of causes of the children's diseases such as glucose insulin resistance and immunocompetency, alteration of immunocompetency, and because I have to live here, right after my presentation. That's why I'm very hurry about this. I came here last night, so this is the longest time for me. So anyways, the children's health is the prenatal and postnatal, the periods are very important for children's health and adult health as well, such as cardiovascular disease, and sometimes cancer is the cause of from the uterus. But we would like to know which the window is more susceptible. So we can do that through the board code study. But we do have some struggle to identify that kind of susceptible windows, but yeah, some of them we have. So let's move on to third issues, air pollution and health effects, especially children's health effects. I would like to go back to the historical episodes and studies more than 50 years ago. Maybe I was a student when I was student in the medical school. I was very inspired about this London fog episode because that time we do not have a lot of advanced statistical the methodology, but they do have their own data. They do have ecological study with their own data, like early time series studies. After that, 1990s, in 1990s, there is Harvard 60 studies. So that makes us a lot of improvement regarding environmental the epidemiology, especially the regarding exposure assessment. So now we can have a lot of the developed very well developed statistical analysis, especially modern time series analysis, and with toxicological evidences and code studies and multi-city studies, we do have a lot of evidences from that. So I'd like to briefly introduce about the London episode. Actually, that is not the first episode. Several years before that episode, in Pennsylvania, there is the same episodes there. There are three. I will show you the three graphs. The first graphs are of death, the daily death in between the first day to the 15th day, December in year 1952. So the green, the blue lines are regarding the black smokes. The red lines are regarding numbers of deaths in a day. You can see that the time lags are not one day, very, very close, meaning that the total number of the effects of the black smoke is very the same pattern with the increasing number of deaths. But here, this is the regarding cardiac admission the reports. Here, the red line is regarding black smoke. Usually the black smokes are here, but abruptly in the fifth phase it's increasing, and abruptly increasing the number of cardiac admissions. So, and this is another the example graph for the respiratory admissions. There is 1 day lag, but a little bit staggering, not abruptly changes. Very follows together with 1 day, right? So I got this the graphs. After that, I thought that if they look for their own data that more than 50 years ago, the outcome if there is the black smoke data, and if they do have the birth data regarding birth rates and gestational ages, or preterm birth or the low birth rate data, what happened to them? I cannot imagine that that there should be some kind of long lag for the gestation, through the gestation. So I would like to analyze that data now because that gave us that really gave us the intuitive the scientific evidences. I do not have that. So another Harvard 6 strategies here and the same pattern, but flying particles and some circle particles has when that the air pollution are increasing, that in the cities the total mortality is increasing. So why do you have this kind of the findings? Some of the mechanisms are like this, and the Prof draw this picture. I think this picture is very schematic, but give a lot of intuitions regarding the biological mechanisms. So when we inhale the PM2.5 through that directly to the lung, we do have some alveoli and pulmonary inflammation. And then, because the alveoli is very deep into our the respiratory system, so the possibilities are the systemic inflammations. These systemic inflammations can cause arrhythmia and vascular dysfunctions, and kind of increasing the viscosity and some atherosclerosis. After that, several years later, it's in the circulation. It's very the sophisticated and very detailed hypothesis is here. But the main thing is systemic the inflammation and oxidative stress. So regarding birth outcome and children's health has the same, very similar biological mechanisms. Some reasons are blood, maybe the systemic inflammation, or some particles or those kinds of air pollutants can go through that the placenta to the baby. So some the possibilities are the blood viscosity, altered blood viscosity. So meaning that maternal placental blood flow is disturbed. And another the issues are regarding the inflammation. So these kind of the mechanisms are very similar with other the cardiovascular respiratory disease and the respiratory cardiovascular disease and respiratory disease the mechanisms. So I have some summarize of the major outdoor pollutants health effects on the children. This is from the WHO outdoor air pollution booklet. So I can say that particulate matters are, there are some strong evidences. There are a lot of the scientific and research evidences regarding the infantile respiratory mortality increasing and decreasing the lung function and throat as well, and some increasing of the asthmatic symptoms, and some other the air pollutants are the same. Some patterns. But mostly the asthmatic outcomes are the very frequent in that research the papers. But I do not have any evidences from this WHO booklet regarding the pregnancy outcome and some other the health outcomes, the perinatal outcomes. So I reviewed some the articles regarding the relationship between PM and low birth weight. Yes, I can say that why the WHO they do not have declaration about that PM10 or the air pollution is a very potent exposure the aspects of the low birth weight or the pregnancy outcome is some data are significant, even though the risk changes of odds ratios are very low. But some of the data shows that there's no association, so it's controversy. That's why they do not have a definite declaration of the health effects of between the PM and the birth rate. This is another the infancy graph. It's not related with the birth rate, but this is the relationship between levels of PM 2.5 exposure and relative risks of acute lower lung illness. So now they do have 35, WHO annual interim target value is 35 microgram per cubic meter. But if we zoom into this part, this is here. Actually, the WHO has annual air quality guidelines are the PM 2.5. PM 2.5 is 10 microgram per cubic meter here. But still, we have interim annual the targets are 35. So you can see that even though below 5 there is no effects, but you can see that from 10 this is a lower confidence interval, but there is evidences through this the simulation. So I think still we are there is a long way to go to the ideal quality guidelines. So let's move on to our own study. I would like to briefly introduce our own study. Some evidences of the MOCHE. MOCHE is our birth code's name. The MOCHE stands for Mothers and Children's Environmental Health. Actually, MOCHE means mother's body in Korean. So that's why we made that one. Actually, before that MOCHE, I do have some mother graph of MOCHE. I think the London talk episode that the long time ago that epidemiology graph is father graph of the environmental epidemiology, but this graph is mother graph of MOCHE. I did analyze this when I have a theoretical in Harvard with Gary Schwartz and Dr. Dakri. The x-axis are concentrations of air pollutants, and y-axis are mean birth rate. So this is ecological study. I merged statistical data of birth and the air monitoring data. I have these evidences when I was in the Harvard. It was the data is from 1996 to 1997. So at that time, this graph inspires me. Wow, this the air pollution is very important factor to the pregnancy outcome, because pregnancy outcome meaning that the pregnant women breathe the regular breathe in the regular lifetime. But how can this the results will be happening in this the ecological study? So this graph and the other one graph. This is after coming back from the Harvard. I am interested. That was low birth rate and birth rates, but I analyzed that another the preterm birth studies. So in here, it's not it's not a strong correlation with the PM10 and PM10 and the preterm birth the incidence. But in here, this is the top line is regarding high the PM10 group, and the solid line is the low the PM10 group, meaning that their decision ages are the lower in high exposure group. So this graph is another very important for me. And the other the analysis of that the children's health is this is regarding the PM10 association between the infant mortality and air pollution, especially PM. This graph is the postnatal younger 1 year old, and this is the older than 65 years. You can see that the slopes are very steeper than the 1 year. The infants, the slopes are steeper than this very old the people. So I submitted this one to the pediatrics. There was not many revisions from that to pediatrics because they are very appreciated this finding. So I had this 3 graphs. And then after these graphs, I went to the Ministry of Environment, and that time it was almost the year 2006. That time in Korea, the National Environmental Health Action Plan was established by Ministry of Environment. I asked them please, we do have some both cohort study in our own country. So they decided that the 1 year later, actually it was year 2004 and 5, 1 year later, they give me the mothers and children's environmental motor study through that, the multi-center perspective cohort studies. The centers are 3 cities. We have many cities, but the 3 cities are very not representative cities, but we do have some metropolitan city data and the clean data and the polluted, like industrialized area the center. This is the study process. We do have a lot of the assessment of domain of assessment of determinants like questionnaire and home visiting the air pollutants and some other things. And because this is a cohort study, so we do have a lot of various domains of health outcomes as well. So from the obstetric department to the pediatrics, we observe these babies. This is the organization. We recruited 1,070 the pregnant women, and we follow up them. The earliest one is the elementary, the first year of primary school. So I do have a lot of evidences, but now I'm focused on some evidences regarding air pollution and children's health, especially particulate matter. As you can see that the previous ecological study, the graphs are very clean, but these are not that clean because the sample sizes are very limited. But still we do have some evidences. This is the x-axis are PM, and the y-axis is the gestation age. So when the PM is increasing, the gestation is decreasing. We did not publish that yet because the sample size is too small, so they several rejections, so I could not have the publication yet. And second thing is that this is actually brand new the analysis, the PM10 personal exposure, because we measure the home visiting the environment. So PM10 exposures and the growth and develop, especially growth. The windows are, we analyzed that the breakdown of the various windows. This is prenatal exposure, and this is the prenatal to the 6 months exposure, and 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years, and 4 years, 5 years actually. We do have some evidences that we do have some finding. Interesting finding is this. This is 1 year, before 1 year, meaning that before 1 year exposure of PM10 can affect the negative association of the baby's growth. The data is not that significant, the data is not that big, but it's very significant. So through this analysis, we realized that, wow, the 1 year, before 1 year exposure is very critical window of the susceptibility of the PM10 exposure. So we draw the graphs, and then we stratified 2 groups. One is the less exposure group under PM10 under 50 microgram per kilometer, because this is the regulation criteria. So, but this is the high group, meaning that higher the exposure than 50 microgram kilometer. So when the babies are growing up, the differences are getting wider. So this is the difference of average rate Z-scores between the children exposure PM10 under 50 microgram per kilometer and over. So when we standardize with the Z-score, the differences are bigger than the raw data. So the other thing is that, as Peter said to us, we have this evidence. This is published in 2014. The air pollutants, as PM and the NO2 can affect the neurodevelopment of the babies, especially 6 months, 24 months of age. The other evidences are from the air pollution and allergic disease. It's not concluded yet, but some evidences we do have PM10 and O2 can affect allergic disease, atopic dermatitis, and some evidences are between PM 2.5 and house dust moths, allergen or eosinophil counts. So another the evidences are between the TVOC, total volatile organic compounds, and some formaldehyde and pregnancy outcome and some allergy symptoms. It's not sometimes we do have the significant result with the total VOCs, but the formaldehyde, we do not have any significant evidences from the formaldehyde. And this is the VOC effects on the neurodevelopment of infants. You can see that the black bar is a high formaldehyde concentration. So some groups are this is the age of the babies. Some groups are some evidences in the high exposure group of the formaldehyde and total VOCs, but it's not that concluded yet. Maybe this is the final the results of our study. This is published in this year. The indoor total PVOC total volatile organic compounds exposure at 6 months followed by atopic dermatitis. We have some high risk of that atopic dermatitis with exposures of VOCs. So jump into the slides. It's not only because of the air pollutants. We do have some guidelines for the pregnant women, and then booklets of the pregnant women, and some pamphlets and postcards and app applications about that. I did not show you my own research results, all of them. This is only the air pollution. In this presentation, I presented only the air pollution data, but we do have for last 9 years, we do have a lot of evidences from our study. So our government want to have that kind of translational translational activities from science to policy. So they said even though it is not concluded yet, but they want to have some guidelines of the pregnant women and young children based on the precautionary principle. So this, as I told you, that several limitations from our study, because I can say that some results are very significant, but some are not significant because of the sample size. So the government realized that we need more sample size. So we planned a lot of things for 2 years regarding this next generation of growth course study in Korea. So finally, in this year, we launched the National Korean Children's Environmental Study. We call this Code Chance. These babies are, this is named Kobe, and this is Chen Chen, and this is Stu. The Kobe's name is from Korean baby, stands for Korean baby, and Chen Chen is from Chen, called Chance, Korean Chance study. So Chen Chen, and Stu is from Su, study Su, that's student. The Korean students are very hardworking, so this character has the glasses. So, content study, I would like to introduce I don't like to tell you in details of this, but approximately the 100,000 pregnancies between this year to the year 2019. This study will be included from the babies from prenatal period to the adolescent. This study is divided by the main study and core study. The main study, we will recruit the main study pregnant women from the Public Health Care Center. And for the core center, you recruit the pregnant woman from the hospital. So 20 years observation period. And one thing very good to have is we have already we do have already established health environmental health centers in through that nationwide. That is established 3 or 5 years ago. That centers are 13. So I know that the Japanese that study is based on 15 centers in the whole Japan. So I think 13 centers are pretty many. So these centers are based on for the recruitment of the pregnant women and babies. So we will do the following up them. But some of them, the 5,000 babies are observed by the every year very close observation. But other than that, we do have some the data linkage analysis of that. So that from that idea from Heinrich, I'd like to put it in the factors regarding greenness of that, the code study, because this is we could use the satellite data and Ewha data, so we can use the GIS, so we can do that. I hopefully I would like to do. So in conclusion, can you say is the ambient air pollution is risky of children's health? Can we? No, how do I say? Is it really that ambient air pollution is risky for the children? I would like to say yes. Some data are consistent. Some data are coherent findings. Some data are not. But I would like to say why. I will answer later. Who are in danger? The children and elderly are danger, but I think the children are more danger. And what else do we need to pursue is we have to know that the physical, chemical characteristics of particles, some accountability of the phenomenon of the researchers, that kind of things we need, and finally we need the reduction strategies of that the effects of the air pollution is really needed. So I love this. I am in position of this the precautionary principle, because as you can see that even though if there is some significant risks of damages to the public, we should prepare to take action to diminish those risks, even when the scientific knowledge is not conclusive. That's my position. That's why I ask to the policymakers and politicians a lot. I go to Ministry of Environment and I did not go to Ministry of Health, but I emphasize this precautionary principle is very important, especially for the children's health. Thank you.
For the inspiring talk, the mocha and kocha. Yeah, before the Q&A, is Sonia from the Advisory Committee. So we might have time for 1 to 2 questions and comments. Yes, please.
Very nice presentation. I have a question regarding the co-chance forward, and so the middle part, the middle guy. This is a self-recruitment strategy, right? So you did not recruit actively the subjects, but they could register themselves if they are like to join. Did I misunderstand?
No, when in 13 environmental health centers, there are researchers. And public health care, primary health care center in the regional area, we do have researchers. So we recommended that we introduced our study, and then we recommended that oh, why don't you start, why don't you this, why don't you join this, the course study? That's kind of active recruitment, I can say that, yeah.
Okay.
Why do you ask me? But active impact is very
Probably
we
that
have,
you just wondering what will be the expected percentage of the
participation rate. Yeah, still we do have, it's different. So for that, the core study, the detailed study, is almost almost 80%. But the public health, the recruitment, it's 60% of the participation rate. So we have to analyze that the comparison of the non-participants and participants.
Any other comments or questions? It's perfect. So probably we need to close the session now, and thank you again.